How many times have you seen a book absolutely blowing up on TikTok? I'm talking millions of views, people sobbing, screaming, throwing their Kindles across the room, and you finally read it only to sit there like, what is this? Or what was that? Because same. I've been burned by hype more times than I can count. And honestly, it makes you trust BookTok a little less every time. But these books, these were everywhere on social media, especially BookTok, and somehow they actually lived up to it. I'm talking no disappointment, no am I missing something moments. A few of these are even all-time favorites for me. So if you're tired of getting fooled by viral books, this list might save you some time and maybe even a little heartbreak. If you're new here, my name is Hannah, and this is our cozy part of the internet where we can sit down, have a drink, whether that is coffee, cocktails, maybe even a mocktail, and occasionally, or a lot of the time, some wine, while we talk about our favorite thing, books. So grab your drink, sit back, and let's jump in. Before we get into the good stuff though, obviously we need to talk about my drink of choice for the night. So tonight I am sipping on, it's first time I've heard of it, if we're being honest, okay? We're sipping on a Meritage. I actually Googled it before so I could pronounce it right. And this is where we're at. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I'm more of a red wine person. This is white. I'm not really a huge fan. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great. So this one actually, it came from Cooper's Hawk, which I don't know if it's like a Midwest thing or not, but it's like a restaurant, but they're known for wine. But yeah, it's Meritage, and this actually came from like an advent calendar I got at Christmas time. It says, enjoy on a peaceful and snowy night. But because I don't know anything about Meritage wine, I actually Googled this, okay? Or, well, actually ChatGPT'd it. All right, who Googles anymore? I don't know. But first of all, I had a misspell. I went like my thumbs are too fat. Okay, my thumbs are too big, and I meant to say Meritage, and I put in Merit Age, like it put a space, like the autocorrect did. And ChatGPT got like all snarky with me and was like, "You mean Meritage wine, pronounced, you know?" And then it pronounced it for me, not Merit Age. Easy mix up. Like, come on. Anyways, so I actually found it very interesting. This name was created in the late 1980s to describe high quality American Bordeaux style blends without calling them Bordeaux. Okay, so it's not like they say, I guess only France can legally use like the name Bordeaux, which found interesting. Okay. But it isn't a single grape variety. It's a blend of classic Bordeaux grapes such as, and then it goes on to list the mixture of grapes that it is, which I thought was very interesting. But it is an American thing. So specifically from the United States, wineries in places like Napa, Sonoma, Washington, Texas use the term to signal like Bordeaux style, but proudly American, which I thought was interesting. But to be labeled Meritage or whatever it's called, it must be made from Bordeaux grape varieties. No single grape can make up more than 90%. And it has to be the winery's top tier blend, not a cheap table wine. All right, so I guess that would explain why this also says Lux on the bottle. Yeah, I was wondering why it said that. But I guess this is a top tier wine and not a cheap table wine. So that's cool, I guess. I wonder where this is from. It doesn't say. It just says white wine American. It doesn't say like. Oh, okay. Cooper's Hawk Winery. It was bottled Woodridge, Illinois. Interesting, I guess. Okay. Anyways. So the more you know. I know that's not what you came here for. So now on to the actual content. The BookTok hype that actually didn't disappoint. I'm counting down from 10, but they're honestly not in any particular order. So if you've read any of these, drop your own little anecdotes in the comments. What hit you, or were there any flops for you? All right, so for number 10, we're starting out really, really strong. I don't have a physical copy of this book. It is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. This is a debut, and it is kind of quietly taking over BookTok this last year. So this novel, it's written through letters and emails, and it follows this nice little lady, Sybil. She is sharp, she's witty. Again, she's an older woman. She's dealing with grief. She's has these complicated family dynamics and all those lingering kind of like what ifs that come with a long life. So people kind of kept talking about how emotional this book was, but also how funny it was. And I was honestly curious if it could balance both without feeling forced. I listened to this on audiobook, which I highly, highly recommend because it's a full cast and they do such an incredible job. I didn't finish it in one sitting like some people said they did, but that didn't take away from how good it was. The letters felt just like incredibly intimate, like you were reading someone's private thoughts. There was also emails in there. But just like the character Sybil, like her voice just completely pulled me in. The humor does actually kind of sneak up on you in the middle of just like these really heavy moments. Like she's a really funny lady, and that balance just worked so well for me. So if you love like thoughtful, character-driven stories that just feel like very human, this one absolutely delivers. Number 9, I actually think Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, okay? This one is set in the same world as her Letters of Enchantment series. So we've got gods, mortals, like this forbidden romance, these like dreamlike connections, just kind of all of it. And BookTok was obsessed, okay, with that series, right? And I'll be honest, I have not read like Divine Rivals and the second book in that series yet. But after finishing this, okay, it shot straight up to the top of my TBR, okay? The romance in this book is just so good. There's like this constant pull between characters that just like, I don't know, like pulls you in and just like hurts in the best way. And honestly, like this was my first Rebecca Ross book, but like I could just tell she has so much talent, and it just feels like, it just felt really lyrical without being overdone. If you want a fantasy romance that leans like emotional and atmospheric rather than like really action heavy, this one is completely lived up to the hype for me. Number 8, again, in no particular order. This is actually a recent read for me. The Compound, okay? The Compound by Alice, or just kidding, not Allison. Aisling Rawle. There's a tag. I thrifted this book, okay, and got it from Hasbro. There we go. Aisling Rawle. I'm sorry, okay? If you watch my videos, you know I'm horrible at pronunciation, okay? The Compound. All right, so this one is like pure chaos in the best way. BookTok kept describing it as like Love Island meets Lord of the Flies. And honestly, that's pretty accurate, okay? So we follow a group of people in a desert compound, okay? And they are forced to participate in like this reality show style challenges, or it is a reality show. They are being put on for the world. But anyways, they do like these challenges with some very sharp like commentary on consumerism and like spectacle. I don't know. It's very interesting, okay? I absolutely flew through this book. It's just one of those reads where you keep like saying just one more chapter and suddenly like you're completely done. This was like a one sitting book for me. Okay, it's also pretty short. I think it's under 300 pages or just over. But the tension ramps up really fast in this book, and then when it ended, I genuinely wanted more, okay? Lily's character in this book is great. The twist, kind of the unsettling parallels to our own world, it just really stuck with me. I would absolutely love to see this book adapted into like a movie or a series. Looking at you, Netflix, or whoever wants to pick this up, because it would be amazing, intense, just 10 out of 10, right? It's dark, it's addictive, and just like definitely, again, worth the hype. So number 7, we have Atmosphere by our one and only Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this like a physical book, and now I can't find it. So I don't have it with me here today. But this was a 2025 release for her. It was set in the 1980s. It goes over like the NASA program, focusing on women in space. It has ambition, it has love, it has sacrifice. And just the expectations for this book were huge given her track record. And it was everywhere. I'm talking BookTok, GMA, you name it. Like everybody was talking about this book. For me personally, this was one of my favorite reads of 2025. The space scenes were really thrilling without being like overwhelming, and the emotional core of the story just like really shine through. You have Joan's journey, just like her drive, her doubts, her growth was just like really incredibly inspiring. But it just felt like Taylor, she was just like doing what she does best. She did emotional, fast-paced, and just like completely immersive. And again, just like the rest of these books, the hype was justified. I've read a few Taylor books, of course, and I would say this was probably my favorite one so far out of hers. That may be controversial. Number 6, I have as The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah, which I am sure you guys all know if you are on social media, okay? But BookTok kind of keeps resurrecting this one for the emotional devastation. And yes, I will say tissues are absolutely required for this book. I actually read this a few years ago. I, again, do not have this one with me today because I actually gifted it to my mom to read, and she absolutely loved it. But this, I also gifted it. Maybe I gifted it to it doesn't matter. I think I gifted it to my grandma, and then she gifted it to my mom, and they both were like obsessed with it. But anyways, I read this a few years ago. I still recommend it every chance I get. Just like the story of sisterhood, their survival, just resilience during World War II is just incredibly powerful. And the emotional payoff hits hard, okay? So if you love Kristin Hannah's writing, I do also recommend The Women, which is another historical, just like gut punch with like a strong female lead. But going back to The Nightingale, this is just one of those books where the hype never really fades, and it is for good reason. All right, number 5, we are halfway, okay? So if you're still with me, thank you. But we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Another one of my favorites. So this one here, it's all about immortality. It deals with the devil, being forgotten by everyone you meet. It is so poetic. It's like this slow burning and just like, I'm going to say quietly devastating, okay? I read this book a couple of years ago, and it was one of my favorite books that year. And I know this one is very split because people either love it or they feel kind of like meh. But I am firmly in the love camp and will always be in the love camp, okay? The writing is beautiful. The themes of memory and just legacy really just like linger with you. And there's the ending, okay? The ending is, okay? It stayed with me long after I have closed this book. Number 4, again, in no particular order. I'm not doing this from like least favorite to favorite or vice versa, okay? Number 4, which if you watch my videos, you probably have heard this mentioned a couple times. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This book smacks, okay? So good, all right? I don't even know if I need to say anything else besides that book smacks. But it is a gothic thriller. It is in like this creepy mansion. Gives like Lizzie Borden vibes. But BookTok lost its mind over the twist in this one. And honestly, I did too. Toward the end of this, I was literally texting my neighbor like every hour just saying like, oh my gosh, okay? And then I would like have to put the book down and I would just be like, and then my husband was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, you don't know what I'm reading right now, okay? This is, I mean, just like completely mind blown like every 15 seconds, all right? The suspense is so well done and the twist generally kept me guessing without telling like, I don't know, the twist just kind of kept me guessing without feeling cheap or ridiculous, right? Like Riley Sager just kind of like delivered exactly what the hype promised. There was like this tension and just like, again, like this, I need to talk to someone about this feeling. All right. We are going to take a quick drink. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. We'll see. Number 3 is a, we'll do Court of Thorns and Roses. Okay. Again, if you're on BookTok, you know this book. So Sarah J. Maas, we all know her, we all love her, or hopefully we all love her, okay? This book was the romantasy gateway drug, okay? You have fae, you have enemies to lovers, you have spice, you have dramatic tension. It is basically launched an entire BookTok era, okay? And listen, I know this series gets a lot of discourse, but I genuinely love it, okay? I've recommended it to so many people. I also love that it got so many people back into reading, okay? That alone is amazing. But just kind of like the world building sucked me in, the romance kept me turning pages, and the series as a whole absolutely earned its obsession status. There's no shame here, okay? Number 2, we're almost there. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by our one and only, again, Taylor Jenkins Reid. A BookTok forever favorite, all right? Another fantastic book by our one and only Taylor, and I have such a vivid memory tied to reading it, which honestly may be why I love the book so much. I don't know. I was in Asheville, North Carolina by myself for a half marathon, which honestly, again, like traveling by yourself, especially me, like I'm a very anxious person. I don't know. It just like, that is very unlike me to like go somewhere by myself. I usually like will ask someone to travel with me. But I had a solo weekend. My husband took the kids for the weekend. I went to Asheville, and, after the race, all I wanted was like carbs and a beer. Okay. So I went to this restaurant. I sat at the bar because I was by myself and I kind of felt awkward just sitting there. I didn't want to just scroll on my phone, but I had brought the book, which I don't have today because I think I gifted it. I don't remember. But I read my book while drinking that beer and eating a cheeseburger. And when the bartender seen me reading the book, he was like, oh my gosh, where are you at in that book? That's one of my favorite books. And I was kind of like toward the beginning, but regardless, I sat there for a couple hours and read this book. while I just had drinks and was eating my food. And he would like come check on me like every 10-15 minutes just to talk about it. It was such a fun shared reading experience. So not only, again, was the book amazing, but I also just had fun reading it because of that experience. All right. So there's like these twists. The ending again is just Evelyn's voice, just like the emotional weight. It's iconic and just absolutely still holds up. I recommend that one to everybody. Honestly, if anybody hadn't read Taylor Jenkins Reid before, I would probably tell them to start with that book. Either that or Daisy Jones and the Six. Even though Atmosphere may be my favorite. But I feel like the other two are more like a good gateway for her. I don't know. Let me know in your comments if you agree. Number 1 and the last one, obviously, on our list is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. Again, I do not have this one physical because I listened to it, and you absolutely, if you read this book, listen to it, okay? It is a memoir that just kind of like took over the internet for obvious reasons. The title alone sparked so much conversation. Like, I almost didn't read it because I was like, who would be glad that their mom died? But beyond that, it is just raw. It's honest. It is like darkly funny. And it is just really incredibly reflective and just so well written. Again, I listened to the audiobook and I truly recommend, again, I know I've said this, but audio over physical for this one. Okay, I cannot say that enough. Jennette narrating her own story just adds so much emotional weight. It just feels so intimate and just like cathartic in a way that's hard to describe. Okay. This is easily one of my favorite memoirs of all time. The hype was not just deserved, it was absolutely earned. So there you have it, my 10 hyped books that actually delivered. I want to know, which of these have you read? Which ones did you think were still just hype? Or what one surprised you? Drop all your thoughts in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more bookish goodness. Until next time, sip something cozy, read something good, and I'll meet you back here soon.